So I thought it'd be a good idea today to put out this video and tell you my story about the time I ended up getting into a band with one of my favorite artists, Mark Mallman. He's a Minnesota music legend, and he even has his name on the side of First Avenue on one of those stars. And if you've ever seen Purple Rain before, that's the venue that Prince plays in. So my girlfriend at the time and I decided to go check out a band. It was kind of like a last minute decision. So we ended up at a college cafe type venue called The Cave. So we're going there and I just expected to hear maybe some hipster college music or something. I really didn't have very high expectations. So when the band came out, I was kind of surprised because they looked more like a 70s glam rock type band. They seemed to have a lot of style. They looked very professional. And they kicked into the first song and right away they sounded very tight and energetic, and the music was wild and loud. And I was like, these guys sound like they've been on tour for a long time. They just had this very tight professional sound. And then the singer Mark started playing. He sings and plays keyboards up in the front of the stage. And he started kind of to thrash around a little bit, like he was getting kind of crazy. It looked like he was getting possessed by the music almost. And I looked and his eyes were kind of rolling in the back of his head. And I was like, this guy is possessed. This is crazy. And the songs were really catchy. And I love the sound of the band. And all of a sudden, my girlfriend goes, oh my God. And I look, and Mark had stood up on top of his stool that he sits on to play piano. And so he looks like this 9-foot giant, and he's like ranting and yelling down at the crowd. It was just insane. I kept thinking, this is like punk rock or something. And his rants were actually very clever and intelligent and entertaining and crazy at the same time. So right away, it felt like we were kind of watching stand-up comedy mixed with great music. Almost like seeing Andy Kaufman in a rock band or something. So when the show was over, my girlfriend and I went to the merch table and we ended up buying one of his CDs, and it's called The Red Bedroom. And to this day, it's still one of my favorite CDs of all time. And so I listened to that for weeks and weeks, and it really grew on me. And it just, I don't know, every song seemed to speak to me at the time. And I loved it. So we decided to go see him again. But I was surprised the second time we saw him because he had a different guitar player and a different drummer for this show. And so I just kind of figured maybe he just has like a rotating cast of musicians that he works with. And they still sounded tight, they sounded awesome, and they looked like they're having a great time. And I kept thinking to myself, man, it would be great to be in a group like this. So one night I just had this crazy idea, almost like I had nothing to lose. I really wasn't playing in any dedicated band at the time, just a cover band. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to take a crazy chance. I'm going to learn one of Mark's songs, and I'm going to learn it on guitar, drums, and bass. I'm going to record a video of it and then just send it to him somehow. I ended up finding him on MySpace. This is how long ago this was. I put the video together and I'll show you a recreation of it. I wasn't able to find the original footage, unfortunately, but I was able to find my old Hi8 video camera, and I used that to record this. So this is kind of what it was like. This is just, like I said, a recreation of it, but check it out.
Same way, burying the needle in my daddy's car. Scaring all the ghosts along the boulevard. Black streets, fast speeds, in back seats, thin lines, high crowds, hysteria, heart attacks.
So I sent it off. I really didn't have too high of expectations. I was like, he might not even ever see this message. Who knows? Or if he does see it, he might not even like my style or whatever. But I just sent it off, kind of just taking a chance, like a leap of faith type of thing. Well, 2 days later, I saw that I got a message back from him. And my first thought was actually, oh, maybe it was just like a return message, kind of like when you send an email to the wrong address, you just get it sent back. And so when I clicked it, I was surprised that was actually Mark. And he was like, hey man, that was rad. Do you want to play a show on bass guitar next weekend? And I just freaked out. I couldn't believe it. I told my girlfriend. She's a huge fan of his as well. So we both just kind of freaked out for a while. It was super fun. But then it dawned on me that I had to learn about 15 songs of his, like perfect on bass. And I had a very short amount of time to do it. But I put in the hours and I eventually ended up pulling it off. So it was a really fun show and I was so nervous, but as soon as the show was over with, I was kind of sad inside. I wanted it to keep going. There was just so much energy on stage, so much excitement, especially because I was a huge fan of the music I was playing versus playing cover songs every weekend with the other band. That was getting kind of stale. So this was kind of like a shot of adrenaline in my arm. So I guess Mark loved how the show went. So I ended up joining his band and playing with him for about 10 years. And it was great because in that 10 years, I had so many experiences, so many live shows. I ended up playing drums, bass, and guitar in different occasions with him. We went on some tours. I appeared on a few of his recordings as well. And then we played some crazy shows. We played the Twin Stadium one time. Of course, we played First Avenue. That was a lot of fun. And then one of the craziest shows we ever did was when he did his Marathon 3 show, and that's where he played for 3 straight days at a place called the Turf Club in St. Paul, Minnesota. And he did it 3 straight days without sleeping. And people would just show up and play for a while and then go away. Other musicians would come up. And it was really fun to play at the finale because it just escalated with 3 days of musical momentum, just pushing us all the way to the end. And I remember Mark had this huge book full of lyrics that he was singing during the 3 days. And he started tearing the pages out and throwing them into the audience. And I was playing on stage, but I remember it was kind of like I was having an out-of-body experience just because everything was so insane all around me. So I thought my story could be inspiring to people if they're looking to maybe play with other musicians, but they may be a little bit apprehensive about just putting themselves out there. I know that's a common thing. So I kind of break it down into 4 things that seem to work for me. So those 4 things would be, first off, be prepared. The reason I was able to play the song and send it to Mark is because I was practiced up on those instruments. So whether it's drums, bass, or guitar, I had many years behind me of preparing for something like this. You don't want to have an opportunity come your way and not be ready. That's the worst feeling. The second thing is you have to set some kind of goal. And for me, it was kind of a goal that just dawned on me, like, it'd be fun to be in a band like this. Oh, wait a minute, what's stopping me from at least trying? So that became my goal. So I was prepared, I set a goal, and then the third thing is I took a chance, kind of like a leap of faith. So by sending him the video, it was just kind of like, okay, here goes nothing. I found that the best things in my life have always been a result of me just going, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to take a risk and go for it. Even though the risk wasn't that big in this case, because the worst you could say is no. It might be a little embarrassing for me or whatever, but the payoff was so big, it was totally worth doing it. And the final thing is that I followed through. After I got the okay to come try out for the band, I didn't freak out and give up before I even tried. I practiced up, I went to the audition, got accepted, and I did it, and I played the show. With those 4 things, I do believe that it can give you the momentum and the confidence to actually go for things. Like I said, it's a bad feeling when you feel like you could have done something, but you just never took those few steps that it took to get there. So, all right. I guess we'll catch you guys at the next lesson. Thanks for watching. Bye.